Okay, so this is part 3 of the walking cycle. And just a quick update about what I've done to the feet now. After reviewing my reference, if I go ahead and pull that up and play that really quick, um, as you can see, I'm looking at my feet here, and I just want to see which direction the feet go after I make contact. So after I see my contact pose, let's go ahead and play this. It looks like my foot's moving out, and then it's coming in, almost exactly at the center. So let's actually edit that right now. So as I'm looking at this, I definitely want my contact to be closer to the center now, looking at my reference. So I'm going to have that kind of tug right there at the center. I'm going to copy this and paste it on my contact, my last contact pose. Again, because this is a cycle, we want to make sure the first and the last pose are exactly the same. For this side, I want to kick this in a little bit more, like so. Let me go ahead and look at the graph. That looks good. This is, hold on, click on that. This is looking okay. And let's just play it out. So this feels like a little bit of a jump right here for my feet. So let me smooth this in a little bit more. By actually having this kick in a little bit. There we go. This feels smoother. This is too far of a jump, so I'm going to find the middle, like so, and I'm going to favor one side over the other. And that feels like a much smoother transition. It's not as poppy anymore. I like that. Let's look at the other one. This feels a little poppy too, so let's take a look at this on the graph. Oh, that's a huge jump. Oh yeah, that's ridiculous. So if I'm going here, I definitely want a smoother transition. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these frames and I'm going to push them up a little bit more. So I'm still favoring this side, but I'm closer to the middle now. And as you can tell, I definitely moved this frame on frame 1. So if I look at the first one and the last one, looks either slightly different. I want to make sure it's the same. So I'm going to copy and paste. Much better. And so if I play this, it should look smoother. It looks a little bit smoother. So if I'm looking at this foot again, I want to make sure my timing and spacing are good. So my timing and spacing definitely look far different. So look at that. Okay, so this is much more even. And if I look at this one's much more separated. So if I were to change it, what I would want to do is I would want to try to get these closer, actually. So I'm going to move these down a little bit. And rather than mess around too much, let me drive this down a little bit. I'll make sure I don't go too excited. Okay, so let me select these like so. And I just want to make these kind of hug each other a little bit more. And then I'm going to play with my spacing a little bit. Drop these down. And then I think I want to drop this one down as well. And then we'll have this one come up a little bit. All right, and because it's less dramatic, it feels like a much smoother walk. So let's go ahead and play it. That feels way smoother, way smoother. Okay, so again, just playing with timing and spacing. Like, it's so funny. Again, one of the many reasons why I love animation. I'm still using 25 frames, but I completely changed the animation with just timing and spacing. Actually, in this case, just spacing. So it feels smoother because I changed up the spacing. The timing is literally exactly the same, but because I changed the spacing, it makes it feel significantly smoother. Okay, and if I'm terrible. If I were to tinker with this a little bit more, I wouldn't have this jet out so much. I would actually favor this side. a little bit more. So if I'm finding the middle, favor that side. Oh, so much smoother. Sorry. Again, I'm addicted to animation. No shame. And the feet look slightly different from each other, which is something that I want to do. I want it to be slightly asymmetrical. Okay, so now that that is done, I'm going to check out the hips. Again, let's burn through this really quick. So if I am looking in my perspective view, I am leading with this one. This is the furthest extension that I'm going to have. I actually want to, again, thinking of timing and spacing, I want to favor this contact pose a little bit more. So I'm going to find the middle, and I'm going to favor my contact pose. And then on the rotate Y, I'm also going to favor, from the middle, my contact pose. And as you can see, just the hips, significant difference. This feels like a contact. So you can feel the weight pushing and tugging against that hip. So again, keep that in mind. After I put my weight on it, then my hip is going to react immediately to it. So keep that in mind. Now that I have that done, again, let's go down the line. That's pretty good. Remember, we want to tilt a little bit, but we want to favor the side like so. So in the middle, I'm favoring this pose right here from my passing. And already, I'm just animating the feet and the hips, and it's already feeling so much more alive. So now that I have that, my next pose, this is my contact. Again, I want to favor the contact pose. So when I go to this one, I'm going to favor this side. So I'm going to find the middle, favor the contact. And then again, just like this one, I want to kind of rotate my hip a little bit because my foot is, my hips are rotating up to get ready for this foot to land. So I'm going to rotate a little bit up and then come, let's see, this should be kicked up a little bit more actually. So let's go ahead and kick that up more. Actually, sorry, hold on. This should be in the middle, and then I want to favor this side. There we go. So if I were to critique this, I would say this is a little bit too dramatic for my liking. So if I wanted to push this back, what I would do is, let's see, get this, bring that down a little bit, get this, bring that up a little bit, so it's more subtle. Much better. Perfect. Okay. And then just so you know, like the reason I move this, by the way, in case you're watching, this is the most exaggerated pose that I have. The first and the last for the contact pose. If I reduce this, it makes it less dramatic. So keep that in mind. I could reduce this further, but you know, I think it's okay for now. So now when I play this, boom, solid walk. Look at that. Good stuff. All right, so now that that has been done, I'm feeling really confident about the hips and about the feet. With that done, now I have my eyes set on the upper body. Again, you want to start from the base upwards. So as I'm looking at my reference, let's just look at my contact poses. Again, the contacts are the most dramatic as far as movement goes and spacing. With exception to maybe the down pose. So as I am here, my leg is furthest extended here. So if this is leading, then this cannot be leading. So it should look something like that. Obviously that's really dramatic, but this is the idea of what you want. So what I'm going to do is, to make my life even easier on the contact pose, I'm just going to go select down the line. I'm going to, again, if this is leading, then this has to be followed in the back. And the opposite side will be leading. So to make the opposite side lead, I'm going to, again, select all these different controls. Rotate them ever so slightly. Then I'm going to select these two controls, rotate it ever so slightly. And then last, I'm going to select the last control, rotate that ever so slightly. Let's go ahead and grab that, like so. And that looks pretty good to me. That's a really good pose, actually. So again, I am touching the spine first. I'm not even thinking about the arms. I'm not even thinking about the head. I just want to make sure that the spine looks good. So to make it, again, easy on myself, I'm going to select all of these, copy from this side, go over here, paste here as well. I'm going to go to my other contact pose, which is in the middle, frame 13. I'm going to paste it there as well. But again, to make it easier, now instead I just select, and instead of negative, I'm going to select positive. I'm going to go up the spine. Instead of negative, I'm going to go positive. And it's true vice versa as well. If you have a positive, then you just make a negative, whatever the opposite is. And now I have a perfect opposite pose. So when I play this, it will look like so. Now, my middle poses, let's see, that should be the passing pose. Passing pose should be pretty neutral, so I'm not going to touch either of these for now, for my neutral pose. And again, that's on frame 7 and frame 19. So on frame 7, I'm not going to touch the rotate. So right here, this is where I'm going to play around with. So again, I want to favor the side that is in the contact because it's the furthest extended. Please remember, it's furthest extended. It's going to take some air time to get back. So when I lift up my arm like this, it's going to take some time for it to come back down because it's at the highest of gravity. As a result, you also want to make sure that you're doing the same with the spine. So if the spine's leading and the arm's slowly coming back, your upper body is going to take just a little bit more time. There's going to be very little spacing, and you want to take advantage of that. So if I really wanted to take advantage of that, I would definitely hug this side even more. But again, I don't want to go too far this way, otherwise I'm going to have a giant gap. So now that that side is done, let's go ahead and select the rotate here. Do the same, find the middle, favor one side over the other. Same thing with this one, find the middle, favor one side over the other. So now it's incredibly subtle, but you can see the body beginning to rotate. And I don't want to touch this one because this is our middle, more neutral stance on the body. Okay, so now that that's done, let's just go down the line. So again, I'm going to copy, make things easier for myself, go to my next passing pose, paste it there. Select it all again just to be safe. Copy here, paste there. Let me just make sure that it's all selected correctly. Okay, frame 19. Perfect. Okay, cool. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So this is about the same. So same thing. I'm going to select this. Oh, why aren't you repeating? You silly guy. Oh, okay. I think I need to select the controllers individually. Okay, so let's copy there. And then let's go to frame 19. Paste. Oh, sorry. got excited. Oh man, I'm supposed to be animating the down pose. My mistake. So let me copy the down pose. See if that works. Do a quick copy. Copy here, and then we're going to paste on frame 16. Let's see if I'm correct. Yes. And let's go ahead and paste our frames on frame 16. Perfect. Now remember, same thing. I'm going to go down the line, and I want to make sure that instead of positive, or instead of negative, these are going to be positive now. So instead of negative 2.552, I'm going to do a positive. Same with here. Make that positive. And now I literally have the opposite pose from the other side. Awesome stuff. Cool. Sweet. Okay, so now that's good. Already you're seeing more movement. It's making the character feel even more alive. Let's see. Let's look at my in-between poses now. So if I look here, this looks like a dead pose. Let's see what happens if I were to go in the middle just for fun. So if I'm coming here, again, I think I want to favor the last pose. So if this is the middle, I'm going to favor this pose. And already that's looking pretty good. So that's done. Let me get this one, do the same to here. Okay, I want to favor one side over the other. Same thing here. Find the middle. Favor one side over the other. And already we're getting a much smoother animation. Look at that. That's so fun. All right, now that I have all those poses selected, let's go back to our, I believe it was our up pose. Yes, this is our up, frame 10. I'm going to copy all of these keys. Go to, I believe, frame 22. Yep, that's it. Let me double check just to be sure. Yep, perfect. And now, instead of positive, we're gonna go negative. So by now, if you're watching this video on YouTube, you're pretty much already seeing exactly what I'm doing. I'm just going down the line, and really the most important poses are these 5 right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm literally ironing these poses out, and then I'm just copying and pasting the rest over to this side. So really, that's the reason why I enjoy using the very simple contact sheet, because I already know what the body's supposed to do on the opposite side. I just gotta copy and paste it. But this is a really good reference if you have not seen a full cycle before. So again, let's go ahead and play this really quick. So already the spine and the, oh my gosh, the spine, the hips, the legs are all working in motion together. I want to exaggerate these arms a little bit. So remember, I'm going from inside out. And the first thing on my inside is this right here. I'm looking at this contact pose. If this is furthest extended back, what I want to do is maybe push that back a little bit. So if I'm going to push that back, I need to copy and paste it to my last frame. And if this is furthest here, then this is going to be furthest forward. So I'm going to rotate that forward like so. And already we're seeing more movement. Okay. So again, if I were to look into easing in and easing out, I definitely want to favor this side a lot more. So I'm going to favor this side. I'm going to steadily ramp up. Remember, timing and spacing. Like so. And it's looking much, much smoother. So if this is furthest extended forward, I definitely want to favor this side. Because remember, if this is the furthest it's going to go on frame 13, it's going to take a little bit of time to start rotating that shoulder back. So if this is furthest extended, remember, just like gravity, if this is coming up, it's going to take some energy to start ramping up, just like if you're in a car. Obviously, if you floor it, it's going to take a couple seconds if you were to frame it. You're going to start gradually gaining energy. So if I'm gaining energy to pull that arm back, it's going to take a little bit more time. So I'm going to have the spacing closer together on the next frame. So to do that, I'm just going to kind of hug that side right there. Then remembering timing and spacing, I want to ramp up the spacing here on my timeline. And already it's starting to look significantly better. So to avoid a pop, let me just kind of find the middle, favor that side. And as you can see, I'm gradually gaining more spacing, just like I would for the bouncing ball exercise. Perfect. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and look at the other shoulder. Let's do the same thing. So if this side is furthest extended back, this one would be furthest extended forward. And if I'm doing it to the first frame, best believe I got to do it to the last. Let's go ahead and paste that there. Let's see. Oh, sorry, copied wrong frame. Silly me. Copy. Not wrong frame, wrong controller. There we go, that's better. Okay, so now this one is matching this one. And if this is the furthest extended, this is the furthest extended back. So I'm going to rotate that back a little bit. Perfect. And so now I'm going to look at the graph again. Rotate, I believe it's Z. Perfect. So same exact thing. Honestly, really easy. This is the furthest extended on both sides. So I want to favor this side over the other. Again, I'm going to start gradually ramping. So I'm going to gain a little bit more space up until I get to my last contact pose. This is looking good. So again, I'm ramping up like so. Now this feels a little bit too dramatic of a jump, so I'm going to reduce that a little bit. And I'm still gaining more spacing. And because this is the furthest I'll go here, then I want to favor, because it's going to take some energy to bring it back. So let me go ahead and favor that side. And then I'll start ramping up the spacing in my graph editor. Like so. Nice. Now let's continue going down the line. I'm going to now look at the side view, left view. And I'm just going to rotate like, let's see, like so. Remember, nothing too dramatic here. So if that one is furthest rotated backwards, you can assume that this is going to be the furthest rotated forwards, like so. And already you can kind of see the tracking motion of this rotation. So let's go ahead and go back to the graph editor. Again, this is furthest back, just like the pendulum. Remember the pendulum. If this is the furthest it's going to go back, it's going to take some energy for it to wind back in. So let me favor this side. Perfect. So I'm going to favor that side. Going to come in a little bit more. Remember, I'm increasing in spacing as I go forward. As I'm going through, I'm going to get more and more spacing. And as you can see, this is a huge drop right here. It looks super choppy because I have a huge drop right here. I don't want that. So rather than do that, I'm going to favor this side now. And as you can see, just by favoring one side over the other, it feels like it's grounded in physics because that's how physics works. So remember the pendulum exercise when we're doing this animation. So now that I'm favoring that side, remember I want to increase spacing a little bit. So if that's there, I'm going to increase the spacing. And again, I kind of want it to ramp up a little bit. So I'm going to push this back to give me more space right here. And let's favor this side even more. So I have somewhere to go. So this is just me messing around with spacing. Perfect. Oh, make sure to copy this. Copy paste. This is going to change dramatically. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this definitely changes my animation dramatically. Okay, so that's okay. Let's just change it accordingly. So I need way more spacing here. Or I have way more spacing to kind of cover that. I'm going to find the middle. I'm going to split a little bit to favor more this side. So it's ramping up. So now when I play it, let's go ahead and look from the perspective view. Now, again, just like my reference, my hand is going to be coming in like here. So let's go ahead and play that. It's coming out, and then it's coming in right here. So at my furthest extension, it looks like it's out right here the most. So I'm going to do the same thing in my animation. So if this is furthest out, let me go ahead and take a look at this. Let me go to the front view. That looks like it's way too out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this in a little bit. So this looks way more natural at this angle. Make sure you do both sides from end to start. Let me paste that there. And if this is my furthest back, when I come here, this should be coming in more. And to kind of do that, let's see. That looks good for me. The reason this is okay for me right now is because I'm going to move this forward anyway. And that's going to change my animation a little bit. So let me just rotate this in a little bit. And then this will be a much cleaner. Oh yeah, it looks way better. Awesome. Okay, cool. So that's my contact pose. So that looks good to me. Again, the only reason I'm okay with this right now, this looks awkward, but when I do this, it'll look way smoother. Also, last thing I completely forgot. Weight distribution on the hips. So I'm glad I caught it now. If I'm looking at where my hips are moving in space, my hip is furthest out on the contact. I don't know if you can notice that. Or right before the contact. So if we go here, you see the hips right there? Right as I'm about to make contact, this right here is furthest that way. So if that's the case, I definitely want to have that in my animation. So if that's furthest out that way, I'm going to want to move my body that way on this contact and on the opposite side as well. So if that's there, I'm going to copy this, paste that here. But as you remember, instead of negative, I'm going to do positive. Perfect. And what you do to one side, you gotta do to the other. So that's that. And I don't know about you, it feels way too exaggerated. So let me dial that back actually. So let's do that. Yeah, let's just dial it back completely. Okay. So let's have that out a little bit. All right, that feels way better. That's more natural in my opinion. So let's copy that. Paste that there. Make it a negative instead of a positive. Copy this. Paste it there. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, it's looking much better. Okay. So, same thing. Just like if I look at the reference, the furthest extension point, if I play this, right before, yeah, right before, I want to say the passing pose. Yeah, the passing pose hugs a little bit more. So I'm going to hug up until the passing pose. If I'm coming down here, though, as you can see, it's a pretty dramatic drop. That actually works out pretty well, though. I'm not sure if I intended that. That's so weird. Animations, ugh, blows my mind. Okay, so with this coming straight down, I definitely want to favor this side a little bit more. So again, find the middle, hug one side over the other. That way I can make a much smoother transition. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the passing pose. Again, let me look at the reference really quick. What does the passing pose look like? So it looks like the passing pose is still pretty darn close. The contact is where it's furthest out, so I'm glad I have the contact furthest out. Let me look at this now. And this side is going to favor more so the other side. So let's do that. Because remember, the passing pose, it's already kind of kicked over. It just kind of hangs out there a little bit more. All right, that's looking pretty good. Okay, remember, if this is the furthest, I want to definitely favor this side over the other. Go ahead and favor that side. Again, we're going to begin to ramp up speed. And then remember, this contact should be closer. So let me go ahead and find this, find the middle, and then favor this side over the other. So when I play it, already way more movement and motion in the body. And as you can see, there's some funky popping here. Again, that's because I still have to fix some of the arcs as well. All right, so with that done, again, let's go back to the arm really quick. Luckily, again, I know I say always do the hips first. Completely forgot that part, but luckily it didn't change the animation too much. So, but if it did, let's just see what it would have done. So that's there. Okay, so this is moving forward in space. And yeah, that's okay, that's looking good. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to now copy this shoulder. Make sure both are matching. Perfect. I'm going to find the middle. And now what I'm going to do is do the exact, but to the opposite side. So let's go ahead and select this shoulder. Copy here. Go here. Paste this here. And remember, we're going to do the exact opposite. So let's do that. Negative that. Okay, so that definitely doesn't work. By the way, sometimes you're going to find some that are like, hey, this definitely doesn't look right. That's okay. You probably don't have to make a negative for that side. So if it jumps out like this and it looks a little weird, like I've never seen anyone really walk like that before. Yeah, probably because we haven't. So what I'm going to do is, instead of making it negative or positive, what this is actually doing is just the rotation that I'm messing around with. So let's keep that there. How about the z-axis? Let's see if that makes a difference. Okay, so I definitely don't want that to change either. So it looks like the only real thing that I want to change is the rotate x-axis. Perfect. So again, let's check out the rotate here. I definitely, again, same principles. Timing and spacing, a new trick that I'll show you. Rather than me moving these individually like so, I'm just going to go down the line, select all the ones that I want to move, and now they're all moving together. I want to ramp that up, like so. Favor that side over the other. And then do the same thing here. I'm going to select these. I'm going to come down. I want to favor this side over the other. I'm going to start ramping up in spacing until finally I'm going to find the middle, favor the side, and now I have more of a rotation. Okay, and again, let me get this really quick. Copy this. I definitely want to paste. Let's see what it is. I definitely want the translate Y to be copied. So copy that. Got the first one. Like so. Oh no, sorry. I want to go here and do that. Perfect. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so look, I didn't have to put the negative at all. It was automatically done for me. Okay, so let's look at the rotate Y. Same thing here. I definitely want to start favoring sides. So as you can tell, what I'm just doing right now is I'm just messing around. To get my spacing and timing correct. So if this is coming in, actually looking at this now, I just want to see what happens if I move this closer in together. I definitely want that too. Perfect. Okay, cool. So again, to make a smoother transition, and already that looks, oh my god, that looks way better. Okay, so now as you can see, oh man, it's super hard to see in the graph editor. Just press the F key. Boom. Automatically changed for me. So again, if you ever see that again where you're like, oh man, everything's so squished together, just press the F key and it'll automatically show you everything that is relative to each other in a much more confined space. So now that I have this confined space, again, I'm going to favor one side over the other. And you know what? I actually want to show you exactly what it looks like. So when I'm moving these, you can, if you want to, go in the actual frame that's going to change, and then you can see exactly what's going to change for it. So if I'm favoring this side, that's what it's going to look like. A very subtle difference, but it's subtle enough to make it more alive. So I'm going to favor that side. Again, I'm going to start ramping up speed, like so. Find the middle, favor that side. And already that feels way more smooth and way more natural than this other weird one that we have on the opposite side. So let's go to that opposite side. Find the rotate Y. Again, these are all the ones that I want to change. As you can tell, my first and last frame do not match. So let's go ahead and copy this one. Paste it there. Perfect. And I don't want these to jet out, so what I'm going to do is select all of them and kind of nest them in between. Again, if your animation looks like this and you're like, again, I can't really see how to make anything closer or further, just press the F key and boom, it automatically resizes it for you. So again, same rules. Let's favor one side over the other. Keep going down. Again, I want to ramp up space. For this one, I want to find the middle. Favor one side over the other. And then do the same exact thing with this side. So this is for this back. I'm going to want to go ahead and move this up. You can see the subtle difference that I'm doing here. Again, I'm going to start ramping up. I want more spacing than the previous frame. And for this one, I definitely want more spacing than the previous frame. Find the middle. And just favor one side over the other. God, I say that a lot. I do that a lot when I'm animating in 3D, by the way. I love using the graph editor. I love favoring sides over the other. It's just easier for my brain specifically. If it's easier for you to do these by hand, you're also more than welcome to do so. And I actually encourage it, especially if you're using a visualizing tool like the editable motion trail. You want to be able to see exactly what's happening. And I will probably do that before I do my cleanup so that I know where my timing and spacing is, especially for the hands. So now that that's done, let's go ahead and play this really quick. Okay, and it looks like there's some funky stuff going on in the rotation here. Yeah, there's definitely some funky stuff. Okay, so I'm just gonna, same rules, really quick, timing and spacing, you already know. I'm gonna ramp that. So I'm doing this so there's less popping, by the way. The reason that there's so much popping is because all this stuff is just kind of fighting for our attention. Actually, I'm looking at the front view just to see what's going on here. Okay, because this arm's looking really good. But this arm's looking real stiff. And that's literally because this isn't coming in. See if that works out. Okay, that looks good to me. Okay, remember, what you do to one side, you got to do to the other. So I'm going to copy this, paste that there. For this one, I really don't want to copy and paste things too much. I really want to feel the animation because, again, I want it to feel a little bit more asymmetrical. That's what gives it more life. When things are too perfect, it starts reaching that kind of almost uncanny valley, almost like robotic kind of thing. So now that I have that, again, I'm going to kind of, whoa, what the hell is going on here? That's so weird. Cool. I just gotta adjust it accordingly. Okay. So rather than this, I just, yeah, okay. So just so y'all know, the reason I'm saying, like, what the hell's going on here is there's a lot of jumping here, especially right there, okay? And it's because I have these frames so far apart, but it's going upwards instead of downwards. So I'm just kind of curious to see what would happen if I went the opposite way. What if I do this instead? What if I select these two instead and move these down, gaining spacing as they go? Same with these ones. What happens if I do that? Find the middle, favor one side over the other. Let's make sure these frames relate to each other. Okay, so I'm thinking it's the rotate Y. Rudy, come on. It's the rotate Y. Okay, so this is what I'm going to change now. These ones. So again, I want to favor, this is this side, I want to favor the other side. This is not going to move. Frame 13 is not going to move because that is the opposite one. What I want to do is I just want to clean this up really quick. It's hurting my brain. So yeah, sometimes it'll happen where you look at your graph editor like, what the hell? Why is that doing that thing? So rather than make it more complicated for myself, I'm just going to do the same thing where I'm favoring sides, and I'm just going to edit this by hand. So if I'm ranking up speed, that looks good to me. And I just want to see if this actually fixes it. If it doesn't, that's okay. I can just burn it and start again. I definitely don't want these to be too even. Here, this side a little bit more. Put that like so. And now my spacing feels better. Let's see if that actually makes a difference in the animation. And holy crap, it does. So don't be afraid to look at your animation and think like, hey, you know, what's going on exactly? As you can see here, This is giving me some weirdness. I definitely want to go into the front view and jet that out just a little bit more. That's better. Perfect. Okay. And again, I changed this side, so I'm going to fix the other side by copying and pasting. And as you can tell, it's again changed up my animation a little bit. That's okay though, because again, this feels like a much smoother kickback. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to alter these frames. I'm going to press F so I can see my frames much better. I'm going to just move these down. Remember, if anyone ever runs into this problem, this is what I want you to remember, especially for this part. Because the last thing I want is for you to look at your graph editor and for your brain to just kind of fizzle out. If this happens to you, it's okay to take a break. Save your file, save scene, take a break from it. And the main thing that you want to realize and know is your contact poses are really the most important poses for your animation. Again, if this looks confusing to you and you're like, what is happening? I have no idea what's going on. Just remember this. Your first pose and your last pose, these are the ones that are going to have to transition into each other. So if these aren't transitioning within that, all you have to do is move them from inside or move them to inside. And then once I do this, this will be much, much easier for us to manage. As long as I get them inside those contact poses, when I press the F key, then it's way easier for me to visualize. So remember that. If at any point in time you're like, what the hell's happening? Like, I have no idea what's happening in my graph editor. Just remember this. Contact poses are the most important. All the magic happens between these contact poses. So, let me go ahead and fix that real quick. Cool. So now that it's in the correct space, I can again look at the timing and spacing of this. So I'm going to favor that side. Adjust this accordingly. And then I'm going to ramp up by finding the middle, favoring that side over the other. And already that's feeling significantly better. And look at this. I almost accidentally made the timing exactly correct on the other side. Perfect. Okay, looking way more asymmetrical. Just so you all know, the last things I'm going to do, I'm going to animate the elbows here, the wrist. I'm not even going to touch the hands. Generally speaking, I don't want to touch the hands until like the very, very end, because it's very, very easy to get caught in the weeds the second you get into fingers. Because, oh look, I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3 controllers. Wow, oh my god, I literally have 3 controllers for each finger. That's way too much. So, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to animate the elbows. I'm going to animate the wrist. And then last but not least, I'm going to animate the head. I will not touch the hands for this demo because it's just going to take a lot more time. The general most important thing that you want to think of is the overall body mechanics. I don't care about the body mechanics for these fingers right now. If you want to, you're more than welcome to edit those. But for the sake of body mechanics, I'm only focusing on those 3 pivots: the shoulder, the elbow, and the wrist. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. So again, let me go to my left view. Let's check out the reference really quick. So if this is my contact pose, my arm is furthest extended out on this contact pose. So when I'm looking at Maya, my contact pose, my elbow should be furthest out right here. So I'm actually going to kick that out like so. And then I'm going to do the exact to the last frame. Perfect. And same with this one. This, on the other side, is where your arm should be furthest up. And hell yeah, it is. So contact pose is when your other arm is furthest up. So if I go back to Maya, I can, if I want, rotate this upwards. And boom. All I have to do is do the same transitions, same timing and spacing for this here elbow. So let's go ahead and do that now. Awesome. Okay, so I'm, again, favoring one side over the other. I'm going to increase this a little bit more. Find the middle. Favor one side over the other. Awesome. Okay. And same thing. Just like the pendulum. If this is the furthest up it's going to be, then this should be hugging that frame. Oh, perfect. See the timing and spacing? Oh, look. Such small spacing. I love it. All right, let's scroll that down. Start ramping up speed. Find the middle. Favor one side. Boom. And let's look at the front view. See what's happening here. And that front view is looking pretty damn good too. This is fun. I'm having fun. All right, so let's go back into the right view. But oh no, what the heck is this? That's okay. I can just click it, click the visualize box, and now I can automatically get rid of my reference. Another reason why it's nice to have your reference in its own box or layer. Okay, so again, this is my contact pose. This should be furthest back. I'm going to copy and paste. First and last frame. This one should be. Oh, what the heck? Sorry, my brain. That was a test. This should be furthest up, like so. Perfect. That one's furthest up. Copy this one. Paste here. And now in the last one, this is the one that's going to be furthest extended back. Because if this one's leading, this one is falling behind. Okay, so same rules. I'm going to favor one side over the other. Start ramping up speed. Let's favor this side a lot more, actually. There we go. So I have somewhere to come from now. Okay, let's find the middle. Favor one side over the other. I actually want to favor this frame a little bit more. So I'm going to push this up. There we go. That feels better. I'm feeling the animation every now and then. So this feels much better, the timing and spacing, so it feels like there's more hang time here. And it feels like I'm working against gravity to come down. So when I come to this pose, again, because I'm rotating back, I still want my arm to be dragging a little bit. So this is dragging. And I'm furthest ramped up here. Perfect. Awesome. That's looking good. And same thing. Let's favor this side. Definitely want to favor this side more. Perfect. That looks good to me. Again, look what happens if I do this instead. It just feels like too much of a jump. Like it's not really hanging out there that often. If I want it to hang, I definitely want it to hug a little bit closer. So if I hug it closer, the spacing feels much better. Perfect. Let's start ramping up. Find the middle. Favor. Let's look at the front, make sure it's good. Yeah, it's looking pretty decent. All right. Okay. Okay. Whew. Last two things: wrist and the head. We're almost there, everyone. And then we'll start doing some cleanup. All right. We'll take a break, by the way, when we do the cleanup. Thank you all for hanging out right now. Okay, so we're almost done, everyone. Home stretch. We just got the wrist and the head, and then we're good to go. All right, so let's go to the wrist. Really quickly, let's go to the left view. Perfect. So let's look at the reference again really quick. If I'm looking at the reference, let's look at my contact. It's very, very subtle, but you can see that the hand is dragging. So as it's coming back, I'm going to have it kick a little bit like so. Actually, that's almost perfect. I don't like where it is right now. That's awesome. Yeah, that works out nice. Okay. So what I definitely want is I definitely want this hand to drag quite a bit. So to have it drag, I'm just going to have it, again, timing and spacing. I just want to move this ever so slightly. And this will be a good demonstration for if anyone is interested in working in this particular way. So if you want to, you're more than welcome to rotate ever so slightly. I'm going to copy here, paste it here. So I know that it's going to copy my my last animation, my last movement. And the reason I'm doing that is this literal reason right here. So that I can see where to push it even further. I know that it's at the same spot, so if I push it any further, I know it's going to go beyond this point, like so. Awesome. Now, that's way too much. I don't want to ramp up too much, but I definitely want to start ramping it up a little bit. I'm going to copy here, paste it here. So I know no matter what, if I move it forward, it's definitely going to be dragging behind. And I definitely want this one to be dragging a little bit more. So now that I have that, as it's coming down, I want it to drag behind a little bit. Okay, I'm going to copy this frame, paste it here. So I know for a fact, okay, if I move it, at least I know it's going to be moving further back because this is already the furthest it can go. So I'm going to have that drag a little bit, coming back. And remember, copy and paste. And let's really have that kind of dragging back. Perfect. And it's so subtle, but you can almost see it. It's like it's dragging, and then it catches there, and then it starts dragging back. And you know what? I actually don't like this. I kind of want that to be more straight. So I'm going to copy that, paste that there. Again, that's personal flavor. Doesn't matter. I'm not going to grade you down for that. So let's see. So if I play this, you can already feel a little drag. Perfect. Okay, cool. So again, another tool for your toolkit. If I were to really fix this, I would just press the F key. And already, you know what? That's looking okay. If I were to change this, I would definitely want to favor this frame more. And I want to do the same thing, really, as I did before. But there's nothing wrong with doing it this way instead. So as you can see, it's far more subtle when I'm doing it this way. I definitely want that to come up a little bit more. Actually, that's too much of a jump, as you can see right here. So what I'm going to do is find the middle, and I'm going to favor this side. Do the same here. Give that a little bit more. Sorry, I'm defaulting to my usual way. It's just easier for my brain. Okay, that's that. And if I really, really wanted this to be like as correct as possible, I guess I could move these down like so. And it would technically be a lot smoother. But but it doesn't feel right. That's the bummer. I don't like that. So I'm actually not going to do that. I want to feel this animation. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to touch it. Again, I'm telling Maya what I want, not the other way around. So this feels better to me. So I'm going to keep that. I'm going to do it to the opposite side as well. Again, you can do either way. It's not gonna be determined to your grade. I just want to make sure that I'm favoring what I want and not what Maya wants. So if this is furthest up, this is going to be dragging back. Copy this. Let's make sure that we can see. Paste that there. Okay, this is dragging behind. Copy this frame. Paste that there. And again, the reason I'm copying and pasting is so that I can visually tell that no matter what I do, if I move this forward, it's definitely going to be further than its last rotation, as you can tell in the graph editor. And this is what's going to give that nice, really, really drag effect. And so I'm going to flip this like so. So it's more towards the middle. And then I'm going to start dragging the hand. So I'm going to copy this frame, paste it here. Start to drag ever so slightly. As we're coming back in, we definitely want to, let's see. Oh, it's already kind of dragging for me. I like that. Okay, and I really wanted to drag on this one right here. So I'm going to push that up. You can really feel it coming up, but coming back just doesn't feel as satisfying. So to really ham that up, I'm going to push this a little bit more and push that even more. And that feels way, way better. Let's go to the front view. There's definitely a little poppiness that I would fix on the elbows. Again, for the sake of time, I don't want to stress about it too much. Let me just see where it could be, though. I guess it has to be on this one, yeah. So if I'm doing that, I think it might be on the shoulder. Spacing looks good there. Don't mind me as I talk to myself. Yeah, it looks okay. I would definitely fix up, especially this hand right here. I definitely want to fix that up. I'm not going to stress too much about it because I want to definitely burn through this. But if I were to fix this, let me tell you exactly what I don't like. I don't like that it's popping right here. And you know what? Screw it. I'm going to fix this just by looking at it. So I'm going to look at the spacing of the hand. This is good spacing. This is a jump. So to make this a smoother transition, and this doesn't move at all. So this should be furthest out. This should come in. So what I'm going to do, you know what, I'm just going to feel it. So, again, practicing our eyes. The spacing here feels really good, but then it just jumps all of a sudden. So what I want to do is I'm going to have to change this frame right here because I need it to get closer to this frame. The reason why we get this popping feeling in animation is because the spacing is too far apart. Our eyes aren't able to process a smooth transition. Our eyes are phenomenal at that. So because this isn't a smooth transition, I'm going to have to hug this a little bit more. To do that, I'm going to kick this out a little bit. And already, oh God, I freaking love this. Already, it feels like a much smoother transition. As you can tell, because our eyes have more time to process the transition here. And again, I don't have any movement here. I want this to come in a little bit, just a little. So I'm going to press the plus key. Let me turn on Karnak again so you can all see what I'm doing. Okay, so let's go ahead. Again, you can use the plus and minus key to change your cogs. I just want to move this ever so slightly in. It's not enough. I want it to move in more. Perfect. And that, oh my God, feels like a better transition. So, again, you don't always want to rely on the graph editor. The graph editor looked fine. It looked totally fine. But as I was looking at my animation, it just felt incredibly weird. Let's make sure that I didn't mess it up too much on my other side. Let's see here. No, it looks fine to me. Perfect. Okay, so that's an example of me feeling the animation. At a certain point, you'll start to develop that feeling, and it just won't feel right, and you'll be able to articulate exactly what it is. By and large, just so you all know, that feeling that we have is generally related to timing, spacing, and arcs. So anytime you get that popping feel, it's probably one of those three things. Okay? So, woo, we did it. Last but not least, let's do the head. So let's go into our left view. Let's take a quick look at our reference. Let's see here. So by and large, just so you all know, the reason why this head is coming down after the down pose is because it is overlapping. The energy is coming down, and then it goes through our body and makes our head come down. So let's go ahead and go to frame 7. Let's have this head come down. Because again, overlapping action, the energy hits, and then it takes a little bit to process down the spine, and that's when our head is going to come down. So our head is going to come down in the down pose, like so. I'm going to copy here, and go to the other down pose. I'm sorry, the other passing pose. Pardon me, just needed to grab some water. All right. Pardon me while I die. All right, so frame 7 is where, after the down pose, all that energy is coming down, and you can tell the head is coming down after the fact because, again, overlapping action. I'm going to copy this here, go to frame 19, where I have my other passing pose. Again, head coming down is after the down pose. Down, then the energy goes up to my head, and then it comes down. It's overlapping. It's taking some time. Remember, just like when you're stopping all of a sudden at a stoplight or a stop sign, the car stops, and then you stop after. So it's the same principle. And honestly, what I like to do on my my contact, I really like to have my head come up a little bit because the energy is kind of, it's dragging a little bit. I'm technically falling as I'm putting my contact down. So as I'm falling, my head is going to be tilted up just a little bit. So that's my contact. Let's go ahead and copy that to my other poses. Let's copy that there, paste that there. So I am going to use the graph editor for this one. Just make it way easier for myself. So this is this pose. I definitely want to favor one side over the other. So I'm going to do that. Same with here. For this one, I definitely want to favor the drag because if my head's down, it's going to take a little bit of time for that head to come up. So I'm actually going to favor this side. Now that I have that, again, I'm coming down. So I got that. This head should be the same as this one. Perfect, that's working well. So if this is coming down, this should be elevated up ever so slightly. So if I'm finding the middle, I'm going to favor the up pose. Because remember, I'm kind of dragging a little bit. Favor that a little bit more, actually. And same with this one, I want to favor the down pose. So that looks good right there. So now when I look at the front view, we're almost done, everyone. We're almost done with the blocking face. So when I turn this off, if I just play like so, look at that. It's a walk cycle. We have successfully made a digital puppet look like it's semi-alive. All right, if you wanted to push this even further, what I would say is, if I'm looking at my controllers, just to ham it up a little bit more, remember, if I'm falling on this side, my head's going to be dragging a little bit over to this side. I'm making that incredibly subtle. I don't want to make it too extravagant. I'm going to copy, paste, very, very subtle head movement, copy, paste. Again, I'm going to, let's see which one it is. I think it is, what is it? That's the y-axis. So I'm going to put the y-axis is positive. So I've got a slight tilt. And already, again, making it feel more alive. Let's go ahead and edit that really quick. Same thing if we are favoring this. This is definitely going to be favoring this side significantly more. And then my head is definitely going to favor this side a little bit more. So let's go down the middle. Actually, yeah, let's just figure out what side I want to favor. So if I'm coming down like this, I'm assuming that this side is going to be a little bit further more to this side because it's kind of bobbing over. So I'm going to put that up there, and I definitely want this to favor this side even more. Same with this. Favor this side a little bit more, and then my head's definitely coming down. And I want this side to favor this side a little bit more as well. Yeah, because I'm getting ready to kind of place that movement down. So if I'm gonna kick something, imagine kicking out with one of your legs. Kick outwards. When you kick out, your head kind of goes in the opposite direction. So that's what I'm keeping in mind with this. So as this is kicking technically inwards, but it's kicking up, I'm getting ready for that by adjusting my head ever so slightly. And already that gives my character significantly more movement. Now, there is absolutely a lot that I would change about the blocking of this. I think I would want to fix the arms especially. The feet are feeling pretty good. However, there's one last thing that I want to do before I get too excited here, and it's actually wanting to rotate these feet out a little bit. If you'll notice in the reference, as we kind of play this out, let's go ahead. You can tell that my feet are jetting out like so. I definitely want that to also be in the animation. So before I get too excited, I'm going to jet that out like so. Copy this, paste that there. Same with the opposite side. Copy, find this one, copy, paste. On the correct controller, paste like so. Oh no, my foot, it's in the wrong direction. What do? Go to the right axis, make it a positive instead of a negative. There you go. And I want to say this foot should be jutting out a little bit as well. So if I'm going in perspective, you know what? No, I'm not going to complicate this too much. Let's go ahead and just change it inside the actual graph editor. So if this is the furthest it's going to go, and again, let's look at the reference. Let's see what happens to the other foot. The other foot looks like it's going the other direction. So I'm going to address that accordingly. Let me go to this foot right here. Let's go to the front view. This one should look like it is rotating out like so. You know what? I really don't like that it's rotating on that pivot. Let me look at the perspective view. I have a feeling I'm going to regret this when we go into splining, but I'm going to try it anyway. Before I get too excited, let me save. All right. I'm going to save this really quick before I do this Hail Mary attempt at messing with the feet. Save scene as. Let's go my ASCII. And this will be my 4th iteration. Remember to save. Don't let Maya crash on you. Let's see if I can kick this out without moving the axis. Fingers crossed. Yes! Awesome. Hell yeah. Okay, cool. So let's go into front view. And perfect. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that these are kind of kicked out a little bit. So if I'm going to this contact pose, let's click on this one. Let's kick that out a little bit. Front view. Again, let me look at my reference really quick. Awesome. And it's actually a lot more subtle than I thought it was. Wow, it's so weird. The feet are so weird. Okay, but looking at this reference, do you see my passing pose right here? This is jetted out. So really quick, before I get too excited about this, I definitely want to make sure that my feet look appropriate. So to do that, I'm going to continue to look at my reference. My reference has this jetted out a little bit, so I'm going to have it jetted here. When I go to the opposite pose here, I want this to be jetted out a little bit. Like so. And as I'm going through my passing pose, my foot's still jetting out a little bit. So let me go to my passing pose here. And Maya. Passing pose being frame number 7. Let's go to 7. I think I already have it jetted out. It should be still jetted out here. Let's check really quick. So yeah, it definitely jets out. Perfect. Okay. So let's go to the front view. And this should still be jetted out. So when it lands, and to be honest, I really don't like that this is cocked out so much. I'm looking at that direction. It's more centered. I don't want to mess with it too much, but you know what? If I'm going to respect the reference, it should look at least better. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, now I feel better about that. And this little guy. This one should still be jetted out just a little bit. And as you can see, I'm getting this popping motion because this is not aligned correctly. So if I were to fix this, it's really as simple as just kind of jetting it like that. And for this one, I would kind of rotate a little bit more. And if I'm looking at the other side, let's see. So this is definitely jetting out. Okay, so the other thing that I'm kind of looking at is the spacing here is looking a little funky. So let's just look at the spacing. So it's coming down inwards, and then it's coming out, and then it's coming in all of a sudden. I don't think I want that. So to combat that, rather than this jetting out of nowhere, come here. Oh man, come on, ready. Let's copy this pose. Paste that there. Perfect. Smoother. That's coming down. Sorry, this is me assessing exactly what's going on. It might just be easier if I go into the graph editor, and there we go. Yeah, let's just make it easier on myself. Let's see. This is this pose right here. So if I'm favoring this pose, let's go down here. Okay, so even though my box is totally off, my foot looks significantly better. So let's just see what it looks like without the controllers. Show, just that. Already feels way, way better. Okay, there's still some popping here. But you know what? I'm going to save that for you all to critique. So this will be a good example of getting some feedback after you're blocking. Please remember to do this, by the way, for the assignment. Please post your blocking first. I should see blocking for both your animations. You're going to have your blocking set up, and then you're going to have your final setup. So just so you know what you are going to upload for this specific assignment. And I will write this down as well so everyone knows. Your walk cycle, let me write this down really quick. Walk cycle should be no more than 40 frames. You're going to post a block and your final spline. You need at least one block. And I definitely want you to get some feedback on that block. If you don't get any feedback within like 2 or 3 days, I want you to hit me up specifically and say, hey, Professor Rudy, how's this looking so far? Again, you're more than welcome to do that. Just like I said earlier in the class, I will get back to you every Monday, Wednesday from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And if you need any feedback, if you need any assistance, please don't hesitate to let me know. But again, walk cycle, no more than 40 frames. You have to post a blocking and a final spline. I'm going to post this blocking. And last but not least, you must post a side and front view for your block. And then you're going to post a 3/4 view for your spline. The reason I am telling you this is because I want to see the front and the side view so that I can give you the most articulate advice on how to fix your your walk cycle. And then I want you to make a 3/4 view so it looks presentable, so it looks fun, so it looks neat. But please remember, and again, I'll write this down so everyone knows. Okay, really quick. You are going to post no more than 40 frames. You can copy the exact same frames as the reference if you like so, up to 25, which is going to be rendered, play blasted at 24, because it's a cycle. You don't want to replicate cycles with the same frame. So, really quick, again, most important thing, no more than 40 frames. You're going to post a block and a final spline. For your side and front view, you will be using block only. So when you're posting your blocking, make sure it's side and front view so that I can give you the best advice possible on how to fix it. And then last but not least, you're going to do a 3/4 view for your final spline. So, does anyone have any questions about that? Yes, no, maybe so. So, just really quick so you all can see, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn that off. I am going to render from here. But if everyone is watching on the video right now, really quickly, just so everyone knows, to play blast this, before I even want to get excited and mess around with the play blast, I want to make sure that my camera looks correct. So I'm going to go to create camera. Actually, you know what? Let me end the video here, and I'll make that a separate video. How's that sound? All right, so we'll end this part right here. This is part 3 of this video. I will cover splining in the next video, and in between that, I will make a quick video on how to create a camera for your scene.